Okay, y'all can hear. Okay, you can hear me. That's good. I am Dr. Alan Williams, and I serve on the board of directors as in the capacity of Director of Compassion Ministries. I would like to welcome every one of you for attending church today. And if we have any visitors, we welcome you also. Revelations 3:20. Here I am. I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in and eat with that person and they with me. I hope that everyone here comes with an expectation today. We hope so. Please join me in welcoming one another as we state our mission, our message, and who we are and how we intend to accomplish it. Welcome to City of Light. This is a place where the people of like mind come together to recognize in Christ's consciousness that there truly is only one power, ever present and all-knowing. We'll offer a positive and practical approach to a lifetime of spiritual growth. We know we are all spiritual beings having a physical experience in this world. We celebrate our diversity, welcoming everyone in unity. We know that how we act is the greatest expression of what we believe. So we live out our calling to be a light for the world, a light of love, truth, and understanding that is making a difference, and so it is. Please rise if you are able in spirit and let us join in singing our opening song, I'm Alive with the Spirit of God.
Alive with the Spirit of God. I am 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 alive. I am alive. I am alive with the Spirit of God. I am alive with the Spirit of love. 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 I am alive. I am alive. I am alive with the Spirit of love. Spirit of God. I am alive with the Spirit of God. I am alive with the Spirit of God. I am alive with the Spirit of God. I am alive. I am alive. I am alive with the Spirit of God. I am alive with the Spirit of love. 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 I am alive. I am alive. I am alive. I am alive. I am alive with the Spirit of love.
Oh, this morning our first act of worship is that of doing unto others. Our duo for the month of February is for the United Negro College Fund. In addition to those of you who have joined our Sunday service on Facebook page and or YouTube channel and would love to donate, please go to our website, www.cityoflightatlanta.com. And if we have any visitors today, we are delighted to welcome you, and hopefully you got a packet that you can get from Barbara Summers. And inside the packet, there's also a prayer card and some information about the church. And that card that is within the packet, you can put it inside the can or you can return it up to the front desk and Barbara Summers will give you your gift. Now we have a few announcements that I would like to make. We are still continuing our continuing education series, and our class, Manifesting Your Success, is on Thursdays at 10 a.m. on second floor in Emerson Hall. The instructor is going to be our pastor, Pastor Reverend Dr. Gretz. Become a manifester of your desires. Learn how to create the life you truly desire. Are you ready to live the life to the fullest? If you are, so am I, and I hope the rest of you are also. The next class is the Energy Connection. That is on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. on second floor in Emerson Hall. Instructors are Reverend Dr. Paul Gretz and Carla Gamper. And this class, Discover Divine Energy in Your Life that Transforms Your Journey, and to join us on a 21-day scripting challenge. Now we have something new. On March 6th, we have a roundtable discussion on New Thought. A roundtable discussion about what is New Thought, and that will follow after the 11 o'clock service. What is New Thought? How does it impact your life? How is this ancient truth put into action? And discover this and plenty more. Thank you. I also want to talk to you about Crossroads Community. Would you like to talk? Are they still needing volunteers, Norma? Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they work on Wednesdays and Fridays. Wednesdays at what, 5 o'clock? 5? 4:30? Volunteers from 4:30 to 6:30. And then on Fridays, it's 11 to 1? Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, 11 to 1. So if you would like to volunteer, please see Brother John or Sister Norma. I'll do that later. And also, if you have prayer request cards, if you have any prayers you would like to tell someone about, you received the prayer request card. If you did, please complete the card and place it in the offering bucket. And what they do with these cards, they invite over 500 people to join COL each week in prayer for your special prayer. After that, these cards go to Anton, which is in Lee Summits, Kansas City, Missouri. And they pray for additional 30 days. Now, saints, now let us center our hearts and be in a place of silence. Let us be in one mind, one heart, and one power as we prepare our hearts for a moment of affirming prayer. The name of the song is You Are the Light of the World. You the light of love. Okay.
You are the light of love. I am the light of love. You are the light. I am the light. We are the light of love. You are the light of peace. I am the light of peace. You are the light, I am the light, we are the light of peace. You are the light of joy, I am the light of joy. You are the light, I am the light, we are the light of joy. You are the light of hope. I am the light of hope. You are the light. I am the light. I are the light of hope. You are the light of love. I am the light of love. You are the light, I am the light, we are the light of love. You are the light of love, I am the light.
Let us now be in prayer together, creating a sacred space for ourselves to begin. Take 2 deep, focused breaths. Slowly inhale and exhale. The ancients believed that the spiritual breath brings us into alignment with universal energy. We achieve clarity. Breath is a recognition of God. God is infinite intelligence. There is one infinite intelligence whose nature is love, and that never changes. Love rises into every area of my life. It's not to be contained, it is to be expressed. I and the Spirit are one. An affirmative prayer is one that helps us to say yes to life and what is happening. I am God-filled and love-filled. The power of God is in me and is greater than anything the world may throw my way. This divine intelligence within directs and reveals the strength necessary for all things to work out for my highest and best. Affirmations work because we believe in them. If our worldview is filled with negative thoughts, we believe them. We've made the announcement. When we change our thinking, our lives will automatically change. And while pondering goodness, hormones actually change, and so does the flow of energy in the body. I am mindful of all the good going on around me. Awareness of the present moment is what is real. The past is gone. I focus on my breathing, begin to observe my thoughts, and as my thoughts come up, it becomes easier to teach myself to let them go. I live in the present moment through mindfulness. Here now is where we live and breathe and know each other, and the awareness of the present. I am presence. In these mindful moments, I touch the wonders of life. I am the gatekeeper to my soul. I am responsible for my thoughts, emotions, and interactions with others. I now turn to the people of Ukraine. We absolutely know that they are not alone. God is in, through, and around everyone. They are as loved as we are. Each, like us, is divinely created and spiritually protected for all of eternity. Deeply, we love them and reach for peace. I am grateful for the peace that is in me right now. Each affirmation today, I send out to the source of being, believing they're heard as truth in love. I allow my heart to be awakened, reawakened now, and so it is. And now we will sing the Lord's Prayer.
Our Creator, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven.
special speaker. I'm not going to call him a guest speaker because we all know who he is. And Reverend Dr. John Carn. Yes. The Reverend Dr. John Carn is an ordained religious science minister and a teacher of science of mind principles. And he does this both in person and via Zoom, those who like to take classes online. He is also a certified hospice chaplain and a religious science practitioner. He has a long history in New Thought and Eastern traditions. The Reverend Doctor presently serves on the board of directors for Emerson Theological Institute and is also an administrator for the affiliate New Thought Network. He is also, which is great, in the process of starting up a new ministry called Sunday Service. So, everybody, let's give a big round of applause for the Reverend Dr. John Carn.
Thank you, Dr. Allen. I wanted to let you know where I've been. I've been traveling around doing Sunday talks to different Anton churches all over the country, and then I've been doing them on Zoom as well. And you find out when you ask for help, people come forward. And I asked for help doing Sunday talks. I've taught a lot of classes for 2 hours, but that's more of a dynamic flow with people giving back as you're doing the class. And so I have a real level of comfort with that, but I have never done a Sunday talk until this past December. I managed to avoid it for 5 full years. And finally, the time is up. It's time to do some Sunday talks. So thank you for having me here to do that with you. And then I also wanted to share my new project. My new ministry is coming up. I just got the 501c3, and it's going to be called Sunday Service, and it's about giving. It's a little bit more mission-oriented. It's not coming to church and being talked to or talked at. It's about trusting you've got it already. Let's go out and be of service. And we're using A Course in Miracles principles, which Richard and I used with a homeless dinner. And that's where recognizing everybody has the Christ within them already, treating people with respect, learning their names. That was something Richard made me do with the homeless. And in the beginning, I didn't want to do it. I was a bit intimidated. But Richard stayed on me, and he would quiz me every now and then. Who's that one? Who's that one? And I had to know the answers. But what it did was it humanized the homeless for me. And it really brought that whole ministry into a fullness for me. And I've given Richard the credit of giving me a ministry, because I think my Sunday service will be out feeding the homeless or the food insecure. And then we might do some other things as well. So I have Richard to thank for that. So today's talk is on joy. And I didn't just pull that out of a hat. I want you to know. We've talked a lot in classes about love, about peace, about wisdom, all attributes of God. And if you were to ask me about joy, I would say, well, that's an attribute of God. We put that up on the board. But I never really spent any time exploring it. And then this past December, there was a period of a couple weeks, like December 14th through the 20th, something like that, where I was receiving emails that the veil was at its thinnest. And when we talk about the veil, we're talking about from the physical to the invisible. And normally, anytime you get near the veil, if you're doing a meditation or something like that, it's scary. You'll jump back. One time I felt someone touch me during a meditation, and it scared the crap out of me. And I was sitting there going, trying to keep the meditation going in my mind, but our natural response, it's pre-programmed for us while we're here during this lifetime. Our natural response is fear, and it's to keep us from going near that veil until it's our time. But back to this, I have been getting emails about the veil being at its thinnest. I didn't think too much about it, but other people I knew said they were getting the same messages and they were aware of it. So one morning, it was maybe like December 15th or 16th, somewhere in there, it was a work day. I was getting up and getting ready for work, and part of my routine would be to stop and meditate and to do my gratitude practice. And I promise you, I was not doing anything special. I wasn't wearing purple. I hadn't lit any candles. There was no incense. I come in with my hair, like that, first thing in the morning, and plop down on the sofa to start meditating. And of course, I went through my gratitude. But what happened was I just slipped right out of my body, and I went to a place where I was surrounded by a soft orange light. And some of you that worked in the kitchen with me in December may recall, I shared that with probably Richard. I don't know who else. But my first thought was, why is this light orange? Why isn't it white? Do I have a light problem? Is that the gay people get the orange light, the straight people get the white light? So I thought, God, that's odd. But the main thing was, during that time, I wasn't afraid. There was absolutely no fear. I knew what was going on, that I was seeing something beyond the physical at that point. And what happened, I started feeling vibration, just waves hitting me of joy. It was the most immense joy, that I've ever felt. I don't think I'll ever feel that level of joy again. But it was coming up to me, it was pulsating within me, and it was radiating out from me. And it was just amazing, it really was. And I sat and managed to not jump like I did the time before when I got touched. I managed to keep my cool, just keep breathing and keep feeling and keep enjoying this. And then before you know it, it was over. I popped back in my body, and I knew it was done. And you wouldn't have known it had ever happened, but when I felt up here, my face was just covered in tears. And I have no recollection of that happening. And afterwards, since then, I've been contemplating it, because that was a really unusual experience, and I don't think I had it by accident. I looked to the great teachers and the great text to see what they had to say about joy. And at Truth Unity, which is one of the places you go when you're going to do Bible research, the Fillmores use the Bible as their textbook. Where Ernest Holmes had the Science of Mind textbook he put together, we all have a textbook. In Unity, it was the Bible. And Myrtle Fillmore, back in probably the late 1800s, maybe the early 1900s, wrote, all healing systems, and she means within the body, recognize joy as a beneficent factor in the restoration of health to the sick. And she based that on a scripture from Nehemiah 8:10, the joy of Jehovah is your strength. And you have to remember, back in her time, they didn't have doctors the way we do. They did not have antibiotics even. And so they would rely on spiritual healing. Because if you did go to a traditional doctor back then, you might get a leech, or they might want to bleed you for an hour and see if you're better. So healing was very common. Spiritual healing was very common. And Myrtle Fillmore writes over and over about the cells of the body responding to joy and to love. And if you ever have some sort of illness you want to overcome, I really suggest you look up Myrtle Fillmore, anything on healing, because she's the master. Dr. Bruce Lipton at the University of Michigan also wrote about this stuff more in the 1980s. He wrote about consciousness being the cure to many illnesses. He showed how adopted children will develop the same illnesses that biological relatives have, because it's about the consciousness in the home. It's not about the biology. And then we've all seen, I think most of us have seen, people in my classes have seen the Emoto water crystal studies. And that is a Japanese study where they had water in little vials, I guess, and they had people saying negative things to them, people saying positive things to them, people writing things on cards, index cards, and putting by the little bottles of water. And then they froze it and did slices of it and put it under a scan and looked at the water crystal structure. And it's significantly different from positive to negative. And they even did that with different types of music. But what's important about that is to know our bodies are 80-90% water. So trust me, they are responding to the message that you're taking in and that you're feeling, whether it's love, joy, happiness, depression, anger. In the 80s, also around the 80s, Louise Hay, became well known. She also was on this same path that I have taken, and she was my role model. But she wrote in her book, You Can Heal Your Life, when she was working with gay people dying of AIDS, that AIDS was a monstrous death. And she believed that gay people had been treated monstrously by society. And that was a natural manifestation. And gay people, I think, treat each other sometimes monstrously. And so naturally, you're going to have that as your outcome. Wouldn't joy and love have been wonderful if we had been treated with acceptance and love and joy back during that time? I remember that well. I was becoming a new nurse at the time that was all happening. And I remember people not wanting to take in the dinner trays to the patients in the hospital to eat, and they could hardly come get it at the door. All of this reminded me of an experience I had as a practitioner when I was over at Center for Spiritual Living, Midtown. One Sunday at the end of the service, someone came up to me for prayer work, and she told me I have cancer. And as I listened to her story, that's kind of one of the worst things a new practitioner wants to hear. Is you're thinking, oh, crap, how am I going to help her? But the truth is, there's no hard or easy for God. Anything is possible. You have to just know that. But this lady started talking about going to war with the cancer, fighting the cancer, and I was hearing violent language, and I knew, oh, that's something I can work with. I know all about violent language and how that causes and manifests for you. So I talked to her about that and about loving the cells of her body the way Myrtle Fillmore would, and finding things that bring you joy. And at the time, I recall there was some instruction out there to tell people to watch comedy shows at least twice a day. So we talked about what makes her laugh. And we found that on YouTube, and she started watching 30-minute episodes of this twice a day. And then a year later, she was completely healed. And she came in to tell me, all those things we worked on worked. I wanted you to know. So a lot of that was joy. And I don't know if you remember, around the same time, we were all seeing Indian groups get together that were laughing for like 15 minutes outside. It'd be like 100 people. I don't know if any of you ever saw that. But that was all about joy, bringing laughter into your day. Do you do that now? Does anyone make the effort to laugh each day? Good. I'd like to see more. I watch Seinfeld bloopers on YouTube, and that makes me laugh. Seinfeld bloopers, Carol Burnett bloopers, for each person it's different. But spend a little time laughing each day. That will shift what you're creating. Let's see where we are. Sometimes I get ahead of myself. There's a Ernest Holmes teaching that we do, in foundations class, and I'm going to have to do this as my imaginary board. I thought if I really brought a board in here, people would start going to sleep. We have a big whiteboard in the class, and at the top of it we write God, and this whiteboard is all that God is, and it's literally everything in the universe and the multiverse. It's everything you can conceive of. It's people, it's planets, it's stars, it's the moon. And you start writing down, you ask people tell me about God, and they're saying love, joy, creativity, wisdom. And so we're writing all that down. And the point of the class is that by the end of the class, the student should understand those are their attributes. Any attribute of God is also your attribute. You are a manifestation of an idea that was in the mind of God. And that's a very important statement. You are a manifestation of an idea that was in the mind of God. None of us are manifested because two people got together and had an accident. We were here intentionally, and we're an idea in the mind of God. And what could God create? Only perfection. Only perfection. We get here and we get confused. We get lost. We get lessons heaped upon us to overcome. But our path is back to that experience, back to the way we came into this life, which is pure love and joy. I did another lookup on joy, and this time I went to A Course in Miracles. That's Steve's favorite course. I'm doing it now for the third year because I can't stop, and I keep finding more valuable information, and I keep finding different teachers that I want to teach me. And when I looked up joy in the Course in Miracles index, it takes you to lesson 190, and the lesson is, today I choose the joy of God instead of pain. And what you do with that lesson is you take it with you through the day. It's a mantra, and you say it over and over and over. And if you're one of the picky New Thought people that doesn't want to end on a negative, you just switch it around. Instead of pain, I choose the joy of God. And what happens, your third year into it, I'll tell you it didn't happen the first 2 years, is that when you're about to go down a negative path, that mantra pops up. And it's like, oh, I can choose joy instead of this. And in fact, I probably better choose joy, because the Course also teaches what we teach in Science of Mind, and that is that you have no neutral thoughts. All thoughts create something. So one of the other workbook lessons is I have no neutral thoughts. And you say that all day long until you get it. And you choose something else because you realize you're creating something when you're in a negative place. You're creating what you're going to run into when you go to lunch. You're creating what's going to come this afternoon. Let's choose something good. So I actually got a little nervous yesterday about doing this talk, and I realized, oh, I could choose joy. And I went back to how I felt during this meditation. And so I decided that whole experience was on purpose. And I decided I didn't want it to be an accident or something that I forget. And so I started using that experience of joy as a measurement tool. So when I was looking at getting my 501c3, I had to ask myself, what brings me enormous joy? And I'm certain I was in the kitchen with Richard or Ann, and we were talking about it, Norma. And I know that working with the homeless brings me tremendous joy. So that is something I'm supposed to do. So I ask you, what brings you to think about that? What brings you joy? That is something, we all feel joy. It affects us differently. Holly's might be helping elderly people, for instance, or soccer moms. Soccer moms about to go down the wrong path with their negative thoughts, and they're screaming at the coach. I started thinking about using this in a productive way. Not too long ago, one of the volunteers on Wednesday nights had something in her car that she wanted to gift to a homeless person. And she asked me, who should I give this to? And I knew exactly who to give it to. Richard and I have been trying to get this guy a tent for some time. And he was possibly the most scary-looking person we deal with, but he's actually a big teddy bear. And so I took Lynn in the car. I said, I know what alley he hangs out in. Let's go. We'll take it to him. And she was saying, well, John, I don't know about going to an alley, and it's getting dark. I don't know about all this. And I was like, no, you have to do this, because mainly I wanted him and the other guys that hang out with him, I wanted them all to know it was from her and not from me, because that's important. They will make sure nothing ever happens to her, and they will be extra kind to her when they see her in person. So I made her load up in the car and go with me down to this alley, and we went and gave it to him. And of course, he threw his arms up and he said, Christmas came early, and he was hugging us both. He was so grateful. And as we were going back to the kitchen, I said to her, my God, that made me high. How do you feel? And she said, it made me high too. So there's something for each one of us. What makes you high? What brings you a great deal of joy? For me also, when I adopt homeless animals into a good home, I always take myself out to dinner. Even if I'm by myself, I'll go somewhere really, really nice to treat myself. So that's another thing that brings me a great deal of joy. And so I had to, I have to evaluate that. It's probably something I should be doing, right? Because it might not affect Roberto the same way, or Larry. You have something else that brings you immense joy. But if we all do what brings us joy, if we pay attention, we can make the world a better place for sure. And I promise you, none of us are here to be miserable. Not one. And if you're in misery in a specific area in your life, it's worth evaluating that. How is that serving you? How is it hurting you? It could be doing some harm to you. One of the speakers at our last Anton conference talked about loving thoughts, kind thoughts, joyful thoughts. And he talked about all thoughts that we have actually started as a loving, kind, or joyful thought. But we took it and perverted it. We took it and changed it. And that the thought would like to be a positive thought. And so he said, you take the thought and you change it to a positive, loving thought. The thought is grateful because that's its original form until we got hold of it. And you're producing a wonderful outcome for yourself, and you're becoming consciously aware of the thoughts floating around out there. Deepak Chopra says we have no original thoughts. They're just all floating around, and we pick up on them as we go through our day. I've noticed that they hang out in certain places. I'll get the same thoughts when I'm driving through an intersection, or when I'm in the shower, or when I am doing something in the morning, because thoughts are hanging out in specific areas. We just tune in and tune out. Now, I have a little funny for you that I saw the other day on social media, and it's misery loves company, but so does joy, and joy throws much better parties. Thank you. Namaste. There you go.
Don't you feel relieved and clean after that. After that. Thank you, Reverend John Carn, for that talk. It is, I really enjoyed it. It was a cleansing. You feel relieved. Everybody show him some love, people. Show him some yeah. Go through the Affirmation of Abundance, which is on the screen. Affirmation of Celebration. City of Light is a thriving community that is experiencing the abundance of God. We are growing and flourishing because we believe and practice of spiritual truth. Give and receive, we join now. Flow. We know that all we share with life returns to us multiplied abundantly, and so it is. Yes, there is peace on earth. Thank you very much.
Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins in me. Yes, there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as my center, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me. Yes, this is the moment now. With every step I take, yes, this is my solemn vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins in me.
Let us all know that peace begins within each one of us, and we carry it with us as we leave this center today, allowing that peace to come forward, knowing that we each can make a difference in what's going on in our world today. Let this peace begin right now. Let it feel it, let it come forward, let it come out, and know that's your part. Your part is done. This is all you need be and all you need to do, this is how it's supposed to be. And so we give thanks and know that it is. So it is.
To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins in me.
I want to thank each and every one of you for coming to church this morning. We had a wonderful time, and I also want to say to those who have joined us on our Facebook page, I want to thank you. And if you would like to give a donation to our church, go to cityoflightatlanta.com. And yes, cityofatlanta.com. City of Light.
cityoflightatlanta.com.
It was all crunched together on the page. And on that web page, you will see a donate button, and that's where you give. Thank you very much, everybody, and I want everybody to have a blessed day and a blessed week. And also to those who are watching on our Facebook page and YouTube channel, thank you very much.
I am alive in the Spirit of God. 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 I am alive